Hey everyone, I hope you're taking it easy and your day has been great thus far. For this video we'll be going through a unboxing and review of the Beast Combiner set of Arcee and Silverfang. And all of this is one of the many toy sublines for Rise of the Beasts. So this is the third Beast Combiner that I've had a look at, the first one being Bumblebee and Snarl Saber, and the second being Optimus Primal and Skullcruncher. This should be a very interesting one because I'm interested to see how Arcee goes, and we'll see why in a minute. So, front of the packaging, still a bit dubious about this whole open packaging thing, but here we have Arcee on the left, Silverfang on the right, and a nice image of the combined armor, which it's unfortunate that the scale is like this. It could have been a lot better if done at larger scale, but it's very niche subline. But that's okay. That's the front of the packaging. Now, as for the back. So, Silverfang, the combined mode, Arcee in her robot mode, her vehicle mode, and oddly enough, and this is what throws me, 13 steps of transformation, which, from what I remember, puts her at the most transformative process of the three combiner releases thus far. So, yes, very interested to see. Don't know how and why, given that Bumblebee was also an Autobot, so I don't know if it's purely a Maximal versus Autobot thing, but 13 steps. Does that necessarily mean it will save Arcee? Yes and no, probably more no, but if there's 13 steps of transformation, that's a lot of things moving. At least that's how I'm rationalizing it. So with that being said, time to get two figures out of the packaging, have a better look, and yeah, really start delving into these 13 steps of transformation. So with everything out of the packaging, we have one Silverfang, who's pretty much mainly white. We have Arcee, who doesn't look too bad, but time will tell. And the manual. So before we look too much at the figures, so standard manual shows you how to re-equip the tail, use the tail as a weapon, and I clearly must have started on the wrong side, but pretty much straight to the combiner mode. And there you go. So the combiner mode is pretty much what we've seen, and because Silverfang almost feels like a redeco of Snarl Saber, pretty much almost has the same playability. Now, as for the other side, so these will be Arcee steps, and well, yes, there's more steps of transformation. Does it save the figure? Well, if I thought the transformation was going to save the figure, then it's probably me being somewhat naive. Had some playability, which is cool, but yes, the figure is still a figure within this particular subline. It still has limitations, so there we go. So that was the manual. We'll come back to that in a minute. Silverfang, you can just literally chill in the corner there. Okay, Arcee. So Arcee from the front, Arcee from the side, Arcee from the back, who is very hollow in the torso. Gosh, you can pretty much see straight in. And somewhat kibbled at the feet, kinda-ish. Not unsurprising, given her ultimate, but there you go. And then a close-up on Arcee. Now, I do feel she has been graced with a bit of color apps, so it actually does break things up a bit. compared to Primal, who, yes, he had color apps, but I think they were a bit overdone in certain areas, his blue being a good example. So for Arcee, we are sporting more of a primary red with a bit of blue, white, some very pinkish white, silver, metallics and things like that to help break up the figure, and a bit of black as well. And to be honest, it actually does work quite well. I quite dig the look. At this point in time, whilst I do have the core Arcee figure, I haven't done the unboxing and review for that, so this might spur this off in the future. So, now that we've had a visual look at Arcee, what can Arcee do? Well, surprisingly enough, Arcee actually has a full 360-degree motion with her head, which is a lot more than what I can say of previous figures. And a bit of a up with the head, mainly because the transformation does allow the head to go that far back. But I quite like the fact that the head will actually move. That in itself is a huge novelty, so there you go. As for the arms, they will do a full 360 at the shoulder joint, being ball sockets. Arm will only go that far out on its own, which isn't too bad. There is no shoulder articulation or anything, so you're pretty much just stuck with what the ball socket will allow you to do, and obviously how much you can move the arm out. Now, you can probably move the arm back a little bit, but once again, like the neck on the head, that's more transformation based than an actual point of articulation, so keep that in mind. The waist, well, the waist actually allows you a full 360 spin. This will probably end up being the most articulated Beast Combiner figure. And even then, it's still less articulated than a typical deluxe. So that would definitely come in handy. I don't know how much handy it will be with the Combiner gimmick, but it is nice to have. And of course, no doubt, it's probably transformation related. As for legs can almost do a full splits, which is fine. Leg will go all the way to the front like so, all the way out to the back like so as well. So definitely a bit of motion and movement available at the upper leg, thanks to a ball socket for the hip. Bringing the leg to the front because we have a nice knee bend, which is actually very cool. And there's also a 360 spin here, just above the knee as well. So yeah, there's a decent array of articulation. If anything, it's probably the arms that is letting Arcee down, because there's nothing in the actual elbows, but there you have it. Definitely nothing feet related, but yes, there you go. There's articulation to be had. It's actually quite cool. Now, will Arcee stand on her own 2 feet? Yes, she will. What I will do in the interim is, just so we can have a look, take that tail out, and I'm going to assume it's equipped. Maybe it's equipped the other way. Or is it this way? Who knows? Maybe this way. Arcee equipped with the tail / sword. So, because the arm doesn't have huge amounts of articulation, there's only so much you can do with it, but I don't know, you can probably pull off some semi-funky poses when you're not pulling things out of the joints and stuff like that. But now I suspect center of balance is going to be an issue, but yeah, could be interesting, could be very interesting. So that is Arcee with the weapon. So take that back out, put that back in for the time being. Now, Arcee. Now, we will try and do a live transformation. Silverfang, I will take you off screen for the time being. Okay, let's try not to take too long for this. So, spin the head around, drop down, spin the body around. Oh no, we're spinning parts of the body. So lift the leg up and then spin that around, and allegedly it has a, I mean, I can see where it connects in, but there you go. Okay, it's okay. Once it tabs in, it does tab in. So there's just at the top of the knee, there's a little tab in there. Which is quite interesting. So flip this around. Oh gosh, this feels weird and chaotic. Flip that around. Yes, weird and chaotic is probably a good way of explaining this. The arm's supposed to go like to the back. Okay, there you go. So some nice tabbing there. Which is very different, having a bit of a somewhat involved transformation, unlike Primal and Bumblebee. So that's... I have no idea how this is supposed to look like a bike in the end, but okay. Now that we've done that, what am I supposed to do here? I feel like something's supposed to spin. Oh, there we go. And then something like that. Okay, once again, more tabbing. I can actually get that bit to tab in. There we go. I'm not sure if this is actually suggesting that the... Oops. I feel like this step 13 is suggesting there is supposed to be some level of tabbing or hiding, but maybe not. But yeah, there we go. That was Arcee's transformation to her vehicle mode, and I have no idea how well that's going to look. I'm pretty sure I butchered half of it, but there you have it. So Arcee in her alt mode, from the front, from the side, from the back, the other side, top, which probably looks a little bit gross right now, and from the bottom. So interesting is probably going to be the operative word here. In fact, oh wow, that is actually quite surprising. I was half expecting to put Arcee down and just watch her topple over, as any bike alt-moded person usually does. So that's actually kind of cool. So it's actually not... Okay, well, she almost did, but for the most part, she will stand fairly still. Definitely not too bad looking, but I will actually say I am thoroughly surprised for the amount of transformation steps required to get her into her bike mode, given the general simplicity of the figure. So kudos to having some actual playability there. And of course, bikes being bikes, they tend to be very notorious with their transformation process and things like that. So it was a little bit confusing. Granted, it was the very first transformation. I'm sure it'd become smoother in future attempts, but that wasn't too bad. And she surprisingly does actually look like a bike. Now, here comes the fun part. Time to undo all of that. And I'm going to be completely messy about it because where is the front? Here we go. Is that the front? I love how untransforming her from vehicle to robot was basically next to nothing. So Arcee back in her robot mode because getting ready to do the combiner. So Arcee, just stand there ever so briefly. So Silverfang from the front, the side, the back, other side, the top, and the bottom. So he's pretty much just a support type figure, not too much overly involved. Has a little bit of articulation with the legs, but that's mainly because they just get to flip inward for the combiner gimmick. We already know about the tail weapon. No doubt the top of the head will come off, and I will actually double check to see if the head also has that little hinge in it where it can actually face forward and use the hidden blaster that's in the mouth. So definitely not too bad. It does feel like a bit of a repaint, but it is what it is. So let's take those off. So yes, looking pretty weird right now. So Arcee, equip that, and of course equip this. There's Arcee with the sword and the forearm shield, I dare say. Yeah, if I remember correctly, you go this way. So let's get those legs done there and now. So we definitely have the adapters there. Pretty much put that right on top and pull everything down and fold the chest back in. So there you go. That is the combiner mode, and beginning to see why they use the other arm for the forearm shoulder. Yes, the actual hinge does exist for that little side weapon. So what I will do is I will actually switch that over. In fact, can actually be equipped on the same arm. Oh, look at that. Even better. Okay, so Arcee in your combined mode. So from the front, from the side, the back, the other side, top down, it's just this giant mass of plastic, and from the bottom up, not that it really matters. And just a bit of a close-up on your armored head and your torso. So I will admit, it's nice that the head does still have some attributes of Arcee's head underneath it, which is very cool. But like their previous combiners, it's very simplified with some of the detailings, color wraps and things like that, so definitely don't expect too much there. Obviously the good thing about Arcee having some of that articulation, mainly because of the transformation, does mean that, unlike the others, she can actually move around a bit more. So whilst the armor is equipped, she can actually, especially with her legs, she can actually look to the side and things like that. Be mindful of things like center of balance. This top section is quite heavy, so just definitely bear that in mind. So that's actually very, very cool. And as we saw earlier, that hinge will allow that little side weapon to also show up as well. So that is actually kind of cool. I'd say of the three thus far, Arcee potentially has the most playability. Now, will you stand on your own 2 feet? I believe the answer is yes, assuming I have done the feet right. Done the feet right, yes, but once again, just figuring out where the center of balance is. But yes, she will stand unaided, which is very cool. Okay, so that is the combined mode. So Arcee will just put you over there, bring back your instructions. So Arcee as a individual figure, looks wise, definitely not too bad. I think the paint apps here have definitely done well to enhance the look, and it does work quite well, especially even though it's a simple figure. The areas of articulation actually does help a lot, does add some nice playability to the figure. It's just unfortunate there's nothing in the elbows. I think if they did have a little bit of elbow movement, sure, they're still simple based figures, but I think that would have just given it enough edge on some of the playability. But Arcee independently as a figure, not too bad. The vehicle mode, once again, isn't too bad either. The transformation is probably one of the elements that gives it some of the playability because of the sheer number of steps for a figure of this type, which is nice. So, I don't know. I mean, it's not the best Arcee by any stretch or imagination, but I am definitely pleasantly surprised by the playability and general look. So that's Arcee. Silverfang, well, Silverfang is Silverfang. It's just purely a supplemental weapon gimmick and armor gimmick and stuff like that. Would have been nice if he had a little bit more colour. The pure white is nice and all, but also gets quite lost in that white as well. Yes, there's the silver in here and there and stuff like that, but I guess when combined with Arcee, it's actually not too bad because it does complement her red as well. So overall, of the 3 combiners I've looked at, I think Arcee has probably been the better of the trio thus far. But the line itself is still very, very niche. So I think for a younger audience, it definitely has more bang for buck. The mature-based audience, it's purely if you think there's actually some interest and playability there. But I would actually suggest, consider this iteration of Arcee. I do know there will be another iteration of Arcee with the beast weaponizers, which I think might even be better. I'm still waiting for her to release, but definitely interested to see how that version of Arcee goes compared to this version of Arcee and later down the track the core Arcee. So yeah, I would say don't necessarily scramble to get one, but it has a little bit going for it, which I think is really cool. So that'll bring us to the end of the unboxing and review of Arcee and Silverfang. So this has been an interesting little beast combiner. Been a bit of a longer video than usual. I think the transformation for Arcee was probably not so great, which is also why I try to do transformations off the camera. But either way, been fun. It's enjoyable. I did have a few expectations for this unboxing and review, and I haven't been completely squashed. But yeah, some of them weren't too bad. I was surprised, to say the least. But yeah, it's definitely been an interesting unboxing for this particular figure. Thank you very much for watching this unboxing and review video. Feel free to leave a like or comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the content. All of this does help support the channel and I do greatly appreciate it. Extra content can also be found on my Instagram account. Link to that will be in the description below. And granted, it's a moot point at this point in time in the video. There will be some supplementary content in the way of shorts and hopefully community post content for Arcee and Silverfang as well. With that being said, stay safe and take care, and I will catch you all in a future Rise of the Beast video, potentially. Other Transformer content on my page, or, well, channel, or something completely non-Transformer related on the channel. I will say, with Arcee being the last of the Beast Combiners, the next Rise of the Beast content will start moving into the mainline Deluxe and mainline Voyager, so keep an eye out. Until the next time, see ya.